title is called Armament Technology by a website called, or a YouTube account called Foliar Pack.
Hi, I'm Kurt Guerin with Foliar Pack, and I'm here to talk about armament technology, specifically how it helps manage the difficult soils we encounter in many lawn care situations.
Okay, so one of the other things people marketing loves to do is they love to create a problem that doesn't exist. Okay, even if it sort of is common in the sort of the realm of turfgrass science or the realm of agronomy, or we do have bad soils. Clearly, there are soils that are difficult to grow plants in. But you have to create a problem if you're going to sell a product to fix it. And so one of the key steps in marketing is to create a problem, whether it exists or not. And so they're going to create a problem here that probably exists in some situations. But keep in mind that even you might not have a situation. And even if you do have this situation, then we'll go to the next step, which is, well, how do you know this product's actually going to cure the turfgrass in the situation? So let's go to the next 40 seconds ahead. Here we go.
For growing mediums. Here are some of the parameters of healthy soils that are often lacking. We see poor aggregate stability, which leads to poor soil structure. This also leads to poor airspace and limited water holding capacity. Bulk density is too high, soil organic matter is too low, and this results in limited biological activity. Mineral balance is out of whack and pH is too. So we often deal with less than ideal measurements in some, if not all, of these parameters.
Now I just realized I didn't put that on the main screen, but that's okay. You guys can see it. I think you heard it. I've been growing grass and mowing grass since, I'm going to say 1983, 84, something like that. When I was a young child, I would help Jesse Deere from the church go around and mow lawns when I was 7 or 8 years old, and then I helped Delbert Toddy mow lawns. Then I mowed my own lawns and pushed that lawnmower up and down the sidewalk, getting money to go skiing in Colorado. That was what I mowed lawns to get money to go do. That's what it was. My thing was skiing in Colorado. So I've been mowing grass a long time. Okay. And I can say with my experience that I have ran into situations where the soil is problematic, but it is not that common. I mean, I've grown grass from Oklahoma to Florida to Kentucky, and maybe I'm lucky, I don't know, but it's not that common. You do have obviously situations. I'm sure everybody here listening has had a situation where you've had a bad soil here or there, but they're acting like this is a huge problem where you have aggregate stability is a problem and available water is a problem, bulk density is a problem. That's a key sign of a BSer right there. Is you have the soil's too compacted. Well, how do you know that? Have you even done a physical soil test on it yet? They have to create problems. Just keep in mind that you might have, let's say you have 1,000 lawns, you're probably going to have a couple of lawns in there that have some poor soils. There's no question about it, but it's not that common. Okay. So don't get overly convinced that, the world's coming to an end and this fear mongering is legitimate. Don't let it bother you. If you have a soil problem, then we can work on it. But don't be overly convinced that you actually do have a soil problem. And then moreover, even if you do have a soil problem, what's the likelihood that they're going to have a product that solves it? Okay, let's look into it. We're going to skip ahead to 337. Here we go. So they have a product, and they've created, in your mind at least, or attempted to create a problem. Now, if you're convinced you have a problem, they've got you in a position where now they can sell you a cure for that problem, right? Even if you don't actually have the problem. So let's look into it. Here we go.
So Armament is really a biodegradable nutrient enhancer. Patented technology, and when used on a regular basis, along with routine fertilizer applications, you're going to get a better balance of nutrition to that plant. In the end, you'll see deeper, stronger roots and more resilient turf, and definitely a longer lasting color.
Now, all of those are claims that can be measured. Deeper roots, longer lasting color, all of those are easily measured. It's not difficult at all to measure that stuff. So I'm sure they're actually going to show us evidence, right? They're going to actually show it, because we can go out there and do this in a season. Find out what deeper roots and longer lasting color. We could do that in a season, no problem. Very little effort. So I'm sure they did it, right? Let's check it out.
Here is a good example of how Armament works in the field.
This is a good example of what post hoc ergo propter hoc fallacy looks like. That's exactly what this looks like. So I did this and that happened, therefore it must have caused it. Meanwhile, I could create that. Everybody here watching this can go out right now. Well, maybe not now, but tomorrow, and create this photo without applying a single ounce of fertilizer or any element. You could do that right now. This is very easy to fake. It's not difficult. But even if it wasn't fake, there's no way to know whether or not that the product actually resulted in this. So you got to be real careful, because it's very easy. Like, these pictures say 1,000 words, so this must be convincing. It must work. Don't be fooled. Okay, this is a very, very common fallacy that it just infects our entire industry. People showing photos of what their turfgrass looks like after some product was applied. Okay, it's a very slippery slope to go down those roads to where you start believing this stuff. Don't do it. Okay, I can recreate this in 5 minutes. It's not difficult. Not saying their product didn't do it. I'm just saying that I'm not convinced that it did do it, because I haven't seen anything convincing or anything compelling that would convince me that it actually did it.
This picture was taken on June 16th. 6 weeks earlier, both of these lawns were treated with the same granular fertilizer at the same rate. As you can see, the lawn on the left is holding better color and density. It was treated with 2 spring applications of Armament concentrate at 16 ounces per acre. The lawn on the right is starting to decline and lose color. Armament is improving the availability of multiple nutrients, which results in better, longer-lasting color and healthier plants.
So this is epistemology. What's the question we should ask? If he was here, or if he was in front of you selling you the product, what's the question that you should ask? He said Armament technology is providing more soluble nutrients and healthier plants. What's the question? How do you know? That's epistemology. How do you know? Because all I'm looking at is a photograph with kind of halfway better looking green on the left, like you said, and a little less green grass on the right. That doesn't mean anything to me. I mean, even if I was the one that went out and put this out, it wouldn't mean anything to me. I need a lot more information than just the grass looks greener because I put a product out, if in fact it even did that, before I'm convinced that this Armament potassium acetate is the actual causal agent in the product. There's a lot of things in these products, and to identify the actual ingredient that's causing it is, it takes more than a photograph. I'll say that. Let's continue.
And here's a very similar scenario. The entire lawn was treated with 3000 at a rate of 0.35 pounds of N per 1,000. To the left of this red line, no Armament was tank mixed. To the right, Armament concentrate was tank mixed with a 3000 at a rate of 32 ounces per acre.
Yeah, so for those who are listening, the one on the right is a little darker green than the one on the left, and they're underneath some trees here. Looks like probably some cool season grass.
So 5 weeks later, you can see the difference. The area that didn't receive Armament concentrate is really starting to lose color and density. The area of the lawn that was treated with Armament concentrate is really maintaining color and positive health. Again, this turf is seeing a better balance of nutrition with the addition of Armament concentrate.
So a better balance of nutrition. How do you know? I mean, it sounds like I'm being picky, but I mean, how do you know that? How do you know it's getting a better balance of nutrition? Maybe there was more nitrogen in it. Maybe there was more iron in it. Maybe there's something else in it that caused it. Maybe you could apply an element to the left side equal to the right side and see the same response, and it's not the actual component of Armament. Maybe it's something else. I haven't seen anything other than some photographs, and that doesn't convince me. And I hope that at this point, after how long we've been doing this, 6 months or so, I hope we're starting to gain a little bit of critical thinking into this process. So when you see this stuff, you can immediately start pulling out the flaws. Some photograph doesn't mean anything to me. That's just marketing nonsense. I'm not saying that his product didn't do it. I'm not here to say the product did not do this. I'm here to say that I'm not convinced that it did do it. Because there's no good reason. There's no evidence to support that it did do it. So don't believe that it did do it. There's no reason to spend money on it. I haven't seen any good reason to spend any money on this yet at all. So that's sort of where I'm going with all this.
We also see great results from granular fertilizers that have been impregnated with Armament technology.
Yeah, so now they're showing on Twitter. This is what they love, man. Marketing people love people who put stuff on Twitter and tag the company name or the product name and show a photo and look how green this is. Look how long my roots are and all these things. They love that stuff because it's a little bit of a bandwagon sort of mentality, a little bit of a historical fallacy. Like, this is what we did. This is what everybody else is doing. And look how good it is. It's nonsense, guys. Come on. Keep going.
This homeowner called his lawn care operator and insisted they come and see his lawn because the color was so green. This was a few weeks after an application of a 22-311 granular fertilizer with Armament. This is great results and another great way to apply Armament technology.
Yeah, so what would have happened if you applied a 23-311 without it? What if you randomized it and did nothing in 23-311 and 23-311 with Armament? What if there's something in the Armament that you're not accounting for as an elemental or as a nutrient component that you're not accounting for? What if there's, like I said, iron or nitrogen or something else and who knows what? I'm just saying there's a lot of other things in it, in these products, than usually just the technology or just some element or whatever. There's usually other things in it that are not balanced out properly. And if they're not balanced out properly, you can't tell. And I've said the same thing about even scientific articles. I mentioned it yesterday morning when there was a very good article published, and they were looking at potassium responses. They used potassium sulfate, and I mentioned in this particular case, we're not going to be able to be absolutely confident that was from the potassium because it came along with sulfate, and sulfate is often deficient. So the same thing holds true for this. My filter, my criticism holds true on both ends, right? Whether it's in the scientific realm or in the marketing realm, it's the same logic. Let's continue.
Well, I hope you see by now that Armament technology should be a big part of any turfgrass management program, whether it's lawn care, athletic fields, or golf course. It's versatile. It fits into granular or liquid programs.
Actually, I can just stop it there because he just repeats it. It just summarizes everything. So here's my take on the product, if you haven't got it already. The product might work. The product might actually do all the magical stuff it says it'll do. Some sort of product that has a long carbon chain on it that results in elements becoming more soluble in the soil. Either with fertilizers you're applying, it keeps those nutrients more soluble, I think is what they're saying, I think they say available. It maintains the solubility of elements in the soil compared to if it's not applied with the Armament and so forth. All that may be absolutely true, but I have zero reason to believe that it is true. And until I have a good reason to believe that it is true, I'm going to keep my money in my pocket. and I hope you do too. So even if you see a photograph, even if 15 guys down the road say, I'm using it and it works great, even if it's been on the market for 3-4 years and everybody says it's great, all of those are really bad reasons. If you want me to, I'll go through all the logic behind it and the rationale behind why those are bad reasons if you want me to. But those are all bad reasons. What are good reasons is evidence published in a refereed, reputable turfgrass journal. Once you hit that, then you start moving up the pyramid from the bottom of that pyramid of evidence, from all the noise and all the opinions and all the gossip and all the nonsense that exists down at the bottom, and you move up a rung or two. When you move up a rung or two, that's when I start paying attention. And you can't move up a rung or two until you get published. So that's what guards me. So that's my take on that product. I have no idea if it works or doesn't work. And I'm sure you're in the same boat. If you're listening or you're watching this, you probably have no idea if it works or doesn't work. But whether it works or doesn't work is irrelevant to me. I saw no evidence to indicate that it would work, so I have no reason to buy it.